Palladium. Why now, you might be asking me? Well, if you dig into the fundamentals, there is a supply side squeeze going on. There's the demand there, but the infrastructure, the investment in the mining hasn't been there for palladium, so it's struggling to get out to market. Plus, on top of that, the two biggest refiners of palladium, both Russian, being taken out of the market due to the Ukraine conflict. So it's a typical recipe for a commodity type price squeeze. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you a lot of options. We're going to go through palladium first and how you can trade that. I'm going to then find you an ETF that gives you exposure to the stocks, the market, as a more generic type of investment tool. And then I'm going to focus in on about a dozen stocks that I found that are palladium specialists, and then more focusing on probably half a dozen of those as my favourites at the moment in 2022. But that should give you plenty of ammunition if palladium does take off and go parabolic in 2022 to take advantage of. So with that, let's get into the analysis. So you probably want to know where the demand comes from. Well, half of it comes from its use in catalytic converters in cars, and then it's also heavily used in electronics, dentistry, medicine, hydrogen purification, as well as jewellery. Now, it comes, mined in different places around the planet, and the big areas are Russia, Canada, US, and South Africa. So gives you sort of an idea behind the scenes for palladium. So let's now take a look at palladium itself, and if you wanted to trade that directly. Now, palladium can be traded using futures, and we'll look into the ways that you can get direct exposure to the palladium price. Now, in front of you, you've got the front month futures contract, which is on the NYMEX/CME exchange. It's one of the bigger markets for it. It's a weekly Heikin Ashi chart, and you can see since 2014, the rise and rise of the price, and more recently in sort of early part of 22, you can see that huge spike up there in the price into the mid $3,000 region. It is a bit volatile. You can also see that by that bottom line there, which is the average true range, and how that's been growing. And it's a weekly chart, so you're looking at $400 a weekly move there in terms of price action. So there's got the, let's say, price movement to be a good market to trade, but like I say, it is very volatile and quite a difficult one to trade. So let's dig into some price detail on the chart. Draw your attention to those two pink lines. They are on the key Fibonacci numbers, 38.2%, 61.8%, and we can see how the price bounced twice heavily from the 38.2% line, around about $1,600, and it went rallying on upwards after that. So there's a key area, but the 61.8%, also look at the amount of trading noise hovering around that line. So that's an interesting pullback place around $2,400. So that could be the base for the next push upwards. If not, then it's got that slippage down to about the $1,600 mark in the longer term. But in terms of upsides, if you can get through that spike high that we saw around $3,400, then it's up into the mid $4,000 next stop in terms of Fibonacci numbers. So that's a quick overview of the current state of the palladium price. So how could you actually trade that? So if you're in the US, you're probably going to need a futures account, and you're going to need a broker that's going to have access to that market, and you're probably going to need reasonably deep pockets to trade it direct. So suggest, from the US, maybe look for ETFs and the stocks direct. But if you're anywhere else in the world, then spread betting and CFDs could be your option. Now, I've dived into my City Index account here in the UK, and you can open this one up pretty much anywhere on the planet other than the US. And you can see there we've got Palladium June futures contract, and it's obviously a synthetic version of the futures contract. Just interested in the price. You're not owning it, you're just buying and selling the price. I say it's there, it's easy accessible. It looks like it's got good costs, only 4-point spread, and it rolls into the next futures contract if you want it to do so. So if you want some front month exposure to Palladium, why not try CFDs? I'll put a link in the description below to City Index if you are interested. So for those from the US, here's the ETF that I think is worth a look at. Ticker PALL. It's Aberdeen Physical Palladium Shares ETF. Just notice the price shape there pretty much reflects that of Palladium itself, so doing a good job of a like for like balancing of the price movement there inside the ETF. Not a lot really to take from the chart other than it's very much like the Palladium I just mentioned, and something for you to consider if you want more generic direct access into the Palladium market. Right then, into the stock shortlist, and they come from all over the world, and if I just quickly ran down them, we've got Sibanye Stillwater, their SBSW, Grid Metals Corp, GRDM, Anglo American Platinum, ANGPY, Impala Platinum, IMPUY, AMark Precious Metals, AMRK, Chalice Mining, CGMLF, Ivanhoe Mines, IVPAF, Platinum Group Metals, PLG, Northern Platinum Holdings, MPH, New Age Metals, NAM, Group 10 Metals, PGE, and Palladium 1 Mining, PDM, and at the bottom there's PAL, which we've just looked at, and the ETF. Now, they're not the biggest companies around, and I've put on the right hand side their market cap, but they're not the smallest either. So when you're trading the smaller ones, just watch out for liquidity and volume, and price spikes could be a bit more dangerous, but it should have enough volume, liquidity there to be reasonably well traded or invested in. So with that, I'm now going to look at my 5 favourites, which I've earmarked with those little pink tags there in the list. Just a brief overview of the weekly and daily charts, just so you can see how the price action of those guys have been playing out. So all of my 5 favourites can be traded from the US stock market. They can be traded CFD, spread bets, or via their local markets. And that brings me to our first one, which is Ivanhoe Mines. That's a typical example of the company. Now, their sort of head office in Canada, but they focus heavily in South Africa for the palladium mining, their exploration, development, recovery of minerals, other precious metals, but like I say, located mainly in Africa. Chart wise, been doing pretty well as well, and could be well placed for this palladium move. So next up are Anglo American Platinum. They're a South African company based in Johannesburg, but they can be traded from the US, and they are, as the name suggests, primarily into platinum, but also into the other precious metals, as well as base metals in South Africa, Asia, Europe, palladium being one of them. And again, the chart looking very healthy. So next up, Impala Platinum Holdings, another South African corporation. They are a producer supplier of platinum group metals, mostly in Africa, but again, like the others, a healthy looking chart and well positioned to take advantage of any price increase in palladium. So something slightly different with my 4th choice here, AMark Precious Metals. They're actually a precious metals trading company, so a slightly different angle in on the palladium idea. They operate North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, pretty much all over the place, headquartered in California, and like the others, all very well positioned for, you know, taking advantage of that palladium increase. Last up is Sibanye Stillwater, a South African company but can be traded again from the US via ADR, and they've actually featured in many of my other shortlists because of, you know, they're more generic all-rounder into lots of different metal groups. But for our purposes of this video, also heavily into palladium and focus mainly, you know, in the South African region, but they also get involved in the Americas as well. So stock price wise, very good. Maybe a bit more work to do than some of the others, but a lot of potential there. So that's my 5 out of that list of about 12 stocks. Don't forget we also had the ETF and the Palladium Direct as well, so plenty of options for you there to get involved in any potential palladium move on upwards. So if we get to see a bullish price squeeze in palladium, hopefully I've given you plenty of options to consider: ETFs, futures, spread bets, CFDs, you know, underlying stocks that are involved in the palladium market. Now let me know in the comments below if you think I've missed anything, or you disagree with the price analysis of a potential palladium price squeeze. Love to hear from you there. Also in the description below I'll put some brokers that will give you access to everything we've covered wherever you are in the world, to be able to trade and get involved with, you know, the palladium ETF, stocks, futures. And we also run a free traders club on Discord where we could chat further if you'd like, and I can answer your questions around palladium and palladium stocks. I'll put a link in the description below for that one as well. Like I say, anyone's welcome. Feel free to join and continue the debate. Now, if you've liked today's video, please give us the thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell buttons. And all that's left for me to say is thanks for watching. Good luck with the trading, and I'll see you in the next video.